And so a Henry Kissinger, a George Shultz, someone of that level, a Gordon Brown is definitely an imperial legate of the New World Order. And he's one of the rarities where he's actually in power and running the G20 and actually calling the shots to a great extent as the main manager right now. Gordon Brown is really the kingpin politically. But normally people don't become legates or even sublegates, because they have sublegates as well. This is an imperial structure until they've already been president or prime minister and done a good job. And then they graduate into that level of a Henry Kissinger. Someone like a Henry Kissinger is more powerful than a Richard Nixon. And people are told, we'll give you the money, put you in power. You got to put Robert McNamara, a legate. You've got to put a Henry Kissinger, a legate. They're going to call the shots. And you listen to the tapes of McNamara, who oversaw the killing of Kennedy and the rest of it, and LBJ will be at his ranch outside Austin talking to D.C., and McNamara says, yes, sir, but McNamara is telling him what to do. And the subservient one is LBJ. And he's telling him, and LBJ saying, okay, yes, how do I do that? And a sublegate would be in the White House right now, Rahm Emanuel. And that's why he constantly talks down to Obama. Whenever the congressional leaders of both parties are there and the cameras aren't on, he gets up and cracks his knuckles and bosses Obama around. And they basically look to Rahm Emanuel and say, yes, sir, Mr. President. And then they basically slap Obama around and tell him, get out there and read the teleprompter. And it's bad news. It's bad news. Kevin, I appreciate your call. Let's talk to Jeff in South Carolina. Jeff, you're on the air.
Alex, this is Jeff.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeff in South Carolina. Listen, I'm a first-time caller. I just want to tell everybody, if you're listening and you're not sure, everything Alex says actually does come true. I've got an example right here. In South Carolina, it just came out in the paper and was talking about how every baby within 24 hours has a blood sample. It's sent to the state lab and then returned to the genetics center. So, and I've heard you in the past talk about how you protested Texas doing that. And lo and behold,
well, sir, let me be specific. I've known since I got on air 14 years ago, there's a secret UN project, and they have centers all over the world that store it. For 37 years ago, it started in a UN secret treaty. And now they have a secret treaty that got leaked last year for net censorship. And Italy's adopting it. Australia's adopting it. And I have the news where they're just totally shutting freedom down. And they're talking about it here. So when you think it's not the state storing it, they store it regionally. And your state must be one of the 6 different, it was 4, now it's 6 regional departments. But yes, they lie to you and tell you it's a blood test. They could do that at the hospital. They save your baby's blood.
Yeah, it's just strange when you hear it and you say, oh, no, but now, it came out in the paper. So I was like, Alex is right.
Well, let me say this. You said I'm always right and it always comes true. Let's be clear. I know their game plan. I attempt to tell you the truth. I don't attempt to ever lie. My job is very easy. I do research. I have passion. I tell the truth. You should you should still check out everything I say, because I'm not infallible. I do make mistakes, but it's like 5% of the time out of 100. I mean, literally, we don't make a lot of mistakes here because we know what we're talking about. But go ahead.
Well, there's something else I heard on the GCN network, and I wouldn't believe it unless I heard it from you. If you research it, they said about the earthquake in Haiti that HAARP records were deleted the day before the earthquake happened. January 11th is when the records are not available. And they also said that some certain British ships that normally are docked there left out a week earlier than they normally just stays there. They normally stay there the whole time. And I thought that was interesting, but I didn't, I wanted you to look into that,
Well, no ships stay places all the time unless they're in mothballs. But look, they have earthquake weapons. That's admitted. That's on record. The Pentagon was preparing, not just a drill, but running a full op to respond to a hurricane in Haiti. It's not hurricane season. It was a drill the day before out of Florida. Chavez, who I liked to a certain degree 3 or 4 years ago because he did stop the North American, Central South American Union, free trade areas of the Americas going ahead. He did set them back, but then he does censor and do a lot of things. So I don't know if I believe him or not, but he says the Russians gave them data. That's the article that Kurt Nimmo wrote with links to it, that the Russians gave him the data that it was an earthquake tectonic weapon. Then I have Secretary of Defense Cohen saying they have earthquake weapons. So I don't know. See, I know they're taking your baby's blood and putting it in the bioweapon lab to study race-specific bioweapons and also patent key DNA strands and key things in people's genetics that are unique to individuals. And then this has been going on for, again, more than 30 years. I've seen the federal cases a decade ago where families would go get, say their 30-year-old is dying of some cancer, say bone marrow. And in one case I saw in San Francisco, I'm going from memory here, but they went to get genetic therapy, and a company they never heard of came and said, you don't get that therapy unless you pay these hundreds of thousands of dollars. We got your blood sample at birth, and we patented this particular hemoglobin or whatever it was. Again, this is like 10 years ago, but I remember reading the article on air. So that family sued and lost, and the federal court said the UN basically owns your blood. So do you understand what they're doing, sir?
Yeah, it's incredible, man. That is.
But again, go look that up, because 10 years ago, that's foggy. But, I mean, I know I read it and saw it and did several stories on it. In fact, Google this for me right now, guys. Courts rule you do not own your own DNA. That should pull it up. For genetic treatments, you'll have to add that or it'll be some police case. Appreciate your call, sir.